What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hands-On channel. We're in the hands-on bathroom right now, and for a long time I've had this cabinet torn apart. If you follow the channel for a while, you know that I built these carcasses quite a while back, and we just got sidetracked. Other things came up, I don't even remember what it was now. Probably water leaks and other stuff that I had to deal with, and this thing got put on hold. Well, here recently, I finished off the top because we want to do a concrete countertop, which I have never done before. So this is certainly not a tutorial or a how-to. This is just how I'm doing it, and hopefully it turns out good, because that would really suck if you put it all together, and you pour the concrete and somehow, it cracks or something bad happens. But I don't know if you guys have seen the prices of countertops, but they're quite expensive, even for the linoleum type, or the whatever you call that stuff, the laminated type. But anyway, I wanted to show you guys real quick how you could do yourself a pour in place concrete form like this. And just briefly, I want to tell you why we're doing it this way. Originally, we planned on pouring it out in my shop and just doing it like you normally see people do it, upside down, where we'd have made a form similar to this out in the shop, and then, waited for it to cure, popped the sides off, and then carried it in. But what we were worried about was when we were carrying it in, these areas right here are fairly thin. And we were worried that if anything happened, because there's going to be a sink opening there through the concrete, obviously. But we were worried if anything happened when we were transporting this big heavy thing, that it might break. And then all of our hard work would be for nothing. So, and also we had a really weird cold snap. It was just, really, really cold, that Arctic blast. I'm sure you felt it too. So anyway, that left me scratching my head, because then I had to suddenly come up with how I was going to do it this way. And I told my wife, I'm like, well, the people I see online doing it, they buy these special kits that have the front and the back and the sides and everything. So I went to look these kits up. It's just plastic is all it is, like plastic forms for concrete. I'm sure you've seen them. If you've watched any concrete videos, you've seen almost everybody that does them like this. They use those breakaway forms. And while I think they're a great idea, I don't think they're worth $150. Yeah, that's right. That's how much, essentially 4 pieces of plastic was going to cost me to do this daggum thing. And I'm like, no way, man. So we decided to use the melamine we already bought. That's what this stuff here is. And then I used plywood here. Now, I coated it with a thin layer of plastic just to keep the moisture off of it until it cures. But I wanted the plywood versus the melamine just for strength and longevity. This is in a bathroom, so I think the plywood will be a little bit more stable. But since we did it that way, I was like, how am I going to lock the slab in to the countertop here, to the wood? And so I went and got these carriage bolts, and as you can see, I globbed some silicone around them. When you're doing the form outside, you put the silicone in and you make it really nice and neat, and then that helps to round over those corners. But in this instance, the reason I use the silicone is to keep it from pouring through the counter as we bring the concrete in. But yeah, a lot of figuring, a lot of head scratching. I wasn't sure how I was going to do these back edges, because obviously these boards aren't going to be able to be removed once the concrete is cured. So I got this stuff. It's just like wallboard, and I had my wife take this kind of like Johnson's paste waxed or something, but it's a different brand, Varathane, but it's just a paste wax. I had her put that on there pretty heavily just to give it a little bit of water protection. And before we did this job, like a couple of days ago, it was actually her idea. She was like, hey, throw one of those pieces of that wallboard, throw it into a cup of water for a few hours. Let's see what happens. We ended up leaving it in there for like 24 hours, and the stuff never swelled up or anything. I don't know what the difference is. It looks a lot like cardboard, but it's much, much harder and much, much stronger than normal cardboard. But yeah, I wanted to give you guys kind of a shot here of the before. And we got this just for when we're ready to screed. But yeah, that's another reason you have to have something back there, is you have to have something to rest your screed on here. Screed, I don't know. I'm not a concrete guy. So again, don't do what I do. you know, if you're not sure about it, you know, go hire a professional and go ahead and pay $1,000. But I think if everything works out like I hope it will, we should be able to get this whole thing done for about $120. Concrete, wood, material, all the stuff we had to have just for the countertop. That's not counting the cabinets, obviously. But yeah, the plan is we got us a warm day going on. So I've got a mixer out here. A buddy of mine, I went to borrow that mixer and he was like, just keep it. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, man, just keep it. You'll use it more than I will. And if I need to borrow it, I'll know where to go. I'm like, all right. So yeah, got me a new mixer here. So we got all kinds of new concrete plans in the works for the future. But yeah, the idea is I'm going to pour that. I'm going to mix it and pour it out there into some buckets and pass it through this window to my wife, and she's going to pour it in here. I'm going to try to set you guys up with an overhead shot so you can see it as it's going in. But again, this is not really a how-to. I just thought I'd bring you guys along because this is the first time that I've ever done anything like this. Honestly, it'll be the first time I've ever run a mixer like that. So I helped a buddy one time run like a big commercial style mixer for doing like block work, like a mud mixer, that kind of a deal. But I've never run one of these little electric units like this, so it'll be interesting to see how all that goes. But I bet you it beats the heck out of mixing it in a wheelbarrow. So I'm excited about that. So yeah, I guess there ain't nothing left to it but to do it. All right, I think we're ready to mix up our first batch of concrete. First time I've ever used this mixer or anyone even like it, so this is going to be a learning experience for me. I read the directions on the bag. I've got my water measured out. This one calls for basically a half gallon per bag, per 50-pound bag. That's what we're dealing with here. This Quikrete 5000 is what we're using, and I've got a couple of buckets over there, and the plan is I'm going to fill the buckets about halfway and pass those into my wife through the window there. And hopefully we'll be able to get a little system going where as I'm mixing it and pouring it, she'll be ready to pour it in and, you know, kind of screed it down and get it leveled off. So here we go. I watched a couple of videos. Everybody was saying to throw a little bit of water in, about half your water to begin with. And that's supposed to help it mix, I guess. Everything I was reading was saying let it stir for 3 to 5 minutes. Pull you in here and show you what that looks like. Looking pretty good. I had to add just a little bit of water to it because it looked a little dry. And the factory said I was probably going to have to do that. The bag said that. Yeah, that's looking real good. Alright, it's been about 4 or 5 minutes, so I think I'm about ready to go ahead and try to pour this. But I'll be honest with you, this is the one thing I'm a little worried about, because I don't know how easy it's going to be to pour into a 5-gallon bucket, but we're going to give it our best try anyway, so here we go. And if I was pouring into a wheelbarrow, I'd probably leave it running, but I think this way I probably better err on the side of caution. Looks like maybe about right there. That's probably about half a bucket there. All right. Not too bad. Can you handle it?
Yep, I can handle it to the ground.
I meant to the counter. You can't pour that? Don't hurt yourself. If I need to come in and pour it, I will. What does that mean? What? Okay, good. I can't hear you, so. All right, just a quick update here to show you how we made out. I think it turned out pretty nice. Of course, it's all still pretty wet right now. But we've got it pretty well smoothed out with the trowel, the best I could do. Again, I'm not a professional concrete guy or anything. I've had a couple of places like this, little pits, that I told my wife I'm sure more of those are going to pop up as this thing cures over the next 24 hours. But from what I was researching online, they say 24 to 48 hours before you take the forms off. So we won't know how we made out until we finally take the last form. This whole front section here, including this piece at the bottom, will all come off. And also around here where the sink will mount down into. So we'll see how we did. Keep our fingers crossed, but that's it for now. Next up, we're going to be trying to sand and finish this thing. I don't know if I'll break this up into a couple of different videos just to keep the time shorter or what, but yeah, the pour is done. The new mixer worked out pretty great. I thought that, you know, there's a little bit of a learning curve with it as far as, you know, the water mixture is the main thing. You don't want to go too much water because the only thing you can do then is add more of your mix to dry it out, you know, and I had to do that on my last batch. I don't know what happened, but I put just a little bit too much water in, so I had to add another bag, but that was okay. We needed it anyway. So anyway, now it's just a waiting game to let this thing dry out, and when we come back next time, we'll do a little bit of finish work on this thing. We're not going to do anything fancy like staining or anything like that. We're just going to seal it up and try to keep it as light gray, I think, is what my wife wants, as possible. It'll probably darken up once we put the sealer on, but then next up we'll be doing some painting and some other stuff, but mainly this video is just about the countertop. I thought I owed it to you guys, since I think anybody that does DIY stuff has probably watched all the concrete videos, so I wanted to throw my opinion in there. You know, it's a lot of work. You're breathing a lot of concrete dust, but I think in the end it'll be worth it. You'll have to tune into the next video and we'll see how we did when we break these forms off. Did I just waste $100 and a whole bunch of time? Or is it the best countertop I've ever had in my whole life? I guess you'll have to tune in next time to find out. Appreciate you tuning in, and until then, we'll see you next time. I think it looks great, and the main thing is Mrs. Hands On is happy. Happy wife, happy life.